parish feast and other Christian celebrations could be used for public affirmation of friendship with members of other religions and communities. Interreligious meeting should not merely be a peripheral activity. It should be the blossoming of the continuous dialogue of life in a particular locality. Good practice of exchange of food across communities during religious festivals have to be promoted. Our educational institutions need to form interreligious and intercultural cell and train students to live with and appreciate differences. These cells can also organize exposure programs to get to know other religions and communities. As theologians, we need to contribute intellectually to promote interreligious and intercultural living through articles in journals, newspapers, and social media. 34. The Parivar forces threaten the very foundation of our nation, dismantling the values of democracy, secularism, and individual freedom guaranteed by the Constitution. We have to join hands and network with secular and like-minded groups and peoples to defeat the forces of Hindutva who are aggressively pursuing the idea of imposing cultural nationalism and fascism on Indians. An intertextual reading of Bible, Hindu epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, and Indian Constitution is of urgency in order to allow the secular potentials in them to fight against the growing fundamentalism in India and strengthening the democratic fabric of our nation. 35. We need to use the mass media to bring out the anti-minority activities of the Hindutva brigades into attention of the international community and especially the ill treatments received by the minorities in the country. We could also appeal to the international leadership, human rights organizations, and International Justice Committee for support. 36. Though the Church is a minority in India, she has a universal mission of serving and saving humanity. She has to be part and parcel of the larger community in which she is planned to bloom. Unless a particular custom or practice is inherently mixed with sin, she must be ready to take to herself the customs of her locality as her patron. In this regard, Christians have to let their imported expressions of faith die so that the authentic Christian faith rises again in the cultural shells of the Indian context. But the gospel cannot compromise with what is in a given culture as incompatible with gospel message. When she confronts the value systems that challenge Jesus' visions, she has to heal and perfect them for the good of the nation. There is a need to incorporate the history, culture, and architecture of each place in the way we express our Christian faith. We have to be Indian in the liturgical dress, religious dress, church constructions, and other structures. 37. Parish has to be the source of life not only for the baptized, but also for those who live outside the structural organization of the church. As Pope Francis has said in Evangelii Gaudium, parish has to be a sanctuary where the thirsty come to drink in the midst of their pilgrimage toward God. The parishioners are to be made aware that the task of every member of the community is to communicate the love of God to all who live in the neighborhood. The activities of the parish have to be designed in such a way that at least a few of the activities of the parish have to be open to all, even to people of other faiths. Parish has to be thus a communion of communities. 38. Interreligious dialogue helps believers to say no to religious extremist standpoints. Religions can interact only in an abstract manner, but believers can build up bridges among the diverse religious communities. Hence, every religious community must make space for other believers to get into their ways of living. In such encounters, the people must be trained to distinguish between their faith convictions and their moral values. People of different faith traditions can arrive at a consensus as regards moral imperatives for personal and social behavior, even though they may have different ways of living their faith convictions. through dialogue of life and through dialogue of liberative projects, they can stand together for the cause of the oppressed and build up an equitable nation. Conclusion. The attacks on the minorities and false propaganda against them call them also to introspect whether they are only reacting to the situation of threat from the forces of Hindutva, but also can be proactive in preserving their religious identity in relation to Indian culture and ethos or in opposition to them. From the Christian faith experience, we can affirm that in the situation of persecution and false propaganda against the church and her institutions, the Spirit of God reveals that the church needs a conversion from her self-righteous, complacent and self-sufficient attitude to realize herself as a little flaw and leaven in the society. The church needs to challenge herself with prophetic courage to shed the vestiges of foreignness in all aspects of her life and evolve a way of lifestyle and worship that are authentically Indian and